Hey, yo, y'all, what is up? What's up? Looks like I'm gonna be talking to y'all like this, minus the microphone. Got a lot of things that I still need to juice up. Um, I'm not the type of guy that likes to use microphones with small devices that still got to be charged up. I got a superstition about that. Yeah, there was this I don't know, there was this article about this chick who had her wired headsets on while her phone was charging at the same time. She ended up dying in her sleep from electrocution due to that situation. So, yeah, I got my superstitions. I'd rather just let my devices charge up and just talk to y'all without the microphone plugged in. But hopefully I sound good to y'all. What's good, Bradley? Good to see you back up in the building once again, family. Looks like Brown do life. He's heading off. He got other things to do right now, but that's okay. That's all good. It's all good. We gonna jam it out. And yeah, Brown do life does listen to me on the replay a lot, so that's cool. And this is an afternoon live stream, something that I do not do all the time. Okay. I don't do these afternoon live streams all the time. But I figured this is a recap, so it's cool. I can do this one in the afternoon and maybe get another crop of audience, because most of my live streams are in the evening. So who knows, in the future, I'll do a few more afternoon live streams here and there. But yeah, let's go in, let's talk. Like I said, for now, we got Bradley up in the building. Good to see you once again. Uh, we're gonna go and talk about just kind of a recap on the live stream that I did with I did it with I did the live stream with Cool Gent 87. So one thing I wanted to say, oh, you said Bradley, it's 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. where you at. Oh, okay. Uh hey, what's good, Ice Turner? Good to see you back up in the building once again, fam. Yeah. This live stream is interesting as a recap because just like with the previous live stream that was about male shaming language, the disclaimer that I have is this: male shaming language is not the same as female shaming language. Now, I know, like in the previous live stream, Cool Gent 87, yeah, Cool Gent 87 was basically addressing a lot of the females that have done shaming language, but nevertheless, that's not male shaming language. Male shaming language is shaming language coming from the males. Female shaming language is shaming language coming from the females. Simply put, that's the best way to describe that at its core. Simplified definition of everything. So, for even the ladies that check this out on the replay, when I say male shaming language, I mean male shaming language. Shaming language coming from the males. So we gonna put that disclaimer out there because I don't want people to think my live stream is titled Male Shaming Language, but I'm describing male shaming language as females giving shaming language. No. So see, there you go. More wordplay on that. Female shaming language is females giving shaming language, right? So male shaming language, it should be males giving shaming language. It's very self-explanatory. So one should be able to figure out where I'm coming from. But sometimes, people misinterpret things all the time. So that lets you know that, like what Ice Turner has said before, that lets you know that you are the cloth and everybody else isn't part of that cloth, you know? Uh, hey, much blessings, Charlotte Swan. Good to see you back up in the building once again, sweetie. And so that's one disclaimer I want to put out there in regards to this live stream recap that I'm doing. Just kind of touching up on some things that I wasn't able to get across with Cool Gent 87 when we were not when we were live, certain things I wasn't able to get across, but also just kind of a refresh just to add more to this topic of male shaming language. Because kind of where I've been having a few live streams with Ice Turner. Um, there's a lot of guys doing male shaming language. There's a lot of males doing shaming language. And of course, I do female woman logic at this channel. Likewise with male men logic. There's a lot of males out here that aren't real men, just as there are a lot of females out here that aren't real women. So let's focus on these males this afternoon, shall we? And I know that a lot of us live in different parts of the world, just like with Bradley, you know. So I don't know what time it is where you are, but thank you for stopping by, even those listening to this on the replay. So make sure that you grab your popcorn, your nachos, your hot dogs, and your soda, or get you something nice to sip on. I got something nice to sip on myself. I got a cup, and not sure if you can hear the ice, but yeah, I got some ice in the cup, man. I'm basically drinking a hard apple cider. You know, it's that time of the year where you feel like you want to get all cozy. So usually around fall, I like these apple ciders, you know, usually hot apple ciders, but if it's a cold apple cider, we're going to have some liquor mixed with it. All right. So one aspect of male shaming language that I wanted to touch upon as a recap, this idea of assuming. Guys assume a lot, these males that aren't men. See, as a man, I never assume, because as someone says, right? And I've heard someone that I know say this before, and I'm like, yo, I need to apply that to this live stream. See, when you assume, you make an ass out of you. Assume, ass you, A-S-U, ass you, assume. You make an ass out of you when you assume. Get it? So never assume in order to not make an ass out of you. Now, a lot of the guys assume, and see, some guys, they're cocky with it. Like, you know, I think to a certain extent, yeah, you could be an asshole, just don't make an ass of yourself. So you got guys that understand this idea of being an asshole. No problem with those type of guys. But you have other guys who just make an ass of themselves. There's a difference in that. And these are the guys that assume things, the guys that make the asses of themselves. Because see, I might not make an ass of myself, but I have every right to be an asshole in that situation, given that I'm not assuming things. There are things I know outright, and I feel like I need to say something about it. I feel like I need to speak my perspective on it. I feel like I have something to say. It's not always me trying to challenge somebody. It's not always me trying to disagree with somebody. There's just things that need to be said. It's like you're fixing a car, but you know one guy forgot to put the screw on the tire that he just jacked up on the car. Well, he could have jacked up the car too. But I'm just saying, he jacked up the car in order to put the tire on the car, but he forgot one lug nut. Well, brother, I'm gonna tell you, you forgot a lug nut to put on that car. You're gonna get mad at me and just say that I'm being an asshole and that I'm assuming? Well, you can say that I'm being an asshole, that's fine, but I'm not assuming. So you can't say I'm making an ass of myself. If anything, you making an ass of yourself, because you just thinking and assuming that I'm just trying to challenge you, talk down on you. I'm trying to help you, brother. So a lot of guys do a lot of assuming. That is part of the male shaming language. Okay. Another idea of male shaming language that I've noticed. You got guys that tell you to get out of your pride. Get out of my pride. Why is it got that a man has to get out of his pride? Last time I checked, pride is not always a bad thing. It's about how you carry your pride. See, that's the thing. Like if you look up scripture in regards to when it talks about pride, it's not the same as just pride in general in regards to just a man being having good self-esteem and confidence about himself. Now, see, confidence is within to me personally. This is not something that you show off to get the ladies. No, this is something within. This is you keep your bravery, your fortitude about yourself. You're proud of yourself, fellas. Be more proud of yourself. So don't get around guys that don't want you to be proud of yourself because they want to say that you're private. See? So there's a difference. Now, the negative aspect of pride is of a person that is self-centered. But see, this is an oxymoronic interpretation of the word pride itself. Now, when you think about the Bible and what it means about pride, you know, it's more to it than just one being arrogant. Really, like pride, biblically speaking, it talks about just one's will versus his will. That's really, in essence, the biblical interpretation of pride. It's when you want your will over the divine will. And so a lot of people struggle with this in life. Yet it does say, you know, his ways are not my ways, and his thoughts are not your thoughts. Now, I know me and Ice Turner, we've chopped it up and we've talked about in regards to the feminine and the masculine, in regards to the order to her chaos. Your ways are not her ways, and your thoughts are not her thoughts. So she needs to not be so prideful as well, you know, in regards to being around you as the man in her life. You know, but that's another rabbit hole. We're not going down that one today. I'm just kind of lightly touching up on things in regards to the male shaming language, right? So we're going to stick with that, but that does give you a little insight on how we can really expand on this idea of where a lot of this shaming could be coming from. You know, uh, there's a lot of different ways. We're going to get down to it. We're gonna get down to all of this stuff today. So sit tight. If y'all got any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm here. We just getting started. We finna have some fun. Yes, indeed, because we want to get more into this. So even if you think about it, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, you know, I think about that. That's actually one of my favorite scriptures besides Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17, you know. But yeah, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, it just talks about um, you know, pride, you know, it goeth before destruction. So it's more or less, sometimes you'll hear somebody say pride worketh destruction. So it is one and then the same thing, you know, like pride to your destruction. You'll have a lot of pride because you want to do a lot of things like your way. You're not really taking heed to the signs. You're not following your magneto as a man, aka magneto reception. You know what I'm saying? You want to kind of go off what you want to do. Now, there was a time in my life where I realized not everything I wanted to do will work. And of course, there's that saying that you know, you try to do one thing and you keep trying to repeat it, but it don't have the same. You don't. If you keep trying to get something done, but you get the same result, that's insanity. So in essence, pride can be a part of insanity. You know, if you want to talk about it from the biblical context, you know, now from just the universal context, pride is a good thing, just within it's you as an individual. But biblically speaking, that's a different type of pride. But yeah, you'll get a guy telling you you need to let go of your pride. Like, no, man, nothing wrong with me being confident. I know where I'm going in life. I know my steps are being led in order, and I'm being led and compelled to express a certain thing that you might not necessarily agree with. So whether you want to, you know, I'm not getting rid of anything, you know. So that's how you address that aspect of male shaming language. You may have another aspect of male shaming language when you have a guy that tells you that you act like a female, or he'll say that you're a coward, you know. And this could be just with you two having an intellectual conversation, but in essence, he really didn't. He instead of giving you feedback, he wants to give you rebuttal. But actually, I take it a step further. It's not even rebuttal. It's just an insult. See, a lot of guys resort to insult overall, you know, because forget the rebuttals, because they really have no way of rebuttaling you or even trying to debunk you. See, this is about intellectual conversation. I avoid debates. I'm amongst fellas and brothers that we have intellectual conversations. Okay. So we're actually trying to educate each other. Okay. That's the thing. We're trying to educate each other. We're trying to grow. We're not trying to tear each other down. We're trying to build each other up. So if there's a guy that wants to, in essence, disagree or have rebuttals or do debunks, that's not a guy that you're really wanting to build. He's just one that wants to destroy things. And it's really that there's not really a right or wrong. There's just perspectives. I believe that. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, yes, there are cases where you'll see someone that you know is not in your circle and they have their disagreements. Okay, that's fine. But let me let me let you in on something. And this could kind of see your perspective kind of change a little bit. But see, that would make him want to more or less say, hey, I think I could rock with y'all. No different than when Morpheus approached Neo and he told Neo about the red pill. And Neo at first had his doubts, but then he realized, I am the one. I am that one. And he decided, okay, I think I'm going to take heed to what you're saying. So that's the only case where I think you can deal with a guy that you normally don't deal with, and he wants to have certain disagreements. Yeah, that should be an issue. But then after that, let's come to an agreement, which isn't necessarily the same thing as agreeing. Sometimes you can still end up agreeing, but more or less it's, yo, your perspective and my perspective, let's put that together. And let's go from there. Let's see what Ice Turner said. You said, fam, you said self-pride equals polite respect, integrity, discipline, excellence. It's a good thing until it becomes a God thing in the face of the Most High. Exactly. Exactly. Bingo. And so that goes along with, his will versus your will, you know. So and it this is, like I said, this is a deep rabbit hole because you can kind of see when you're dealing with someone that just wants to have strife amongst you. They just really not trying to rock with you. They want to rock against you. So they want to basically cause you to capsize. So that's the other thing, shaming language amongst males, if you will. When you see that a guy is talking too much against you instead of speaking for you, he's basically wanting you to capsize. So that's that. You know, I feel like a guy that wants to shame you, especially when he tries to say you're a coward or you act like a female or whatever the case, you just avoid a guy like that versus calling him out because you never did in the first place. So you just keep it moving. That'll say a lot. That'll say a lot more about him than it says about you. You know, um, and actions speak a lot. Actions speak very loud. Much louder than words. But sometimes words are dictated of one's actions already. So it's like, cool. Um, that's fine. I already see how you've been moving anyway. So your words actually just match how you've been moving all this time. It doesn't surprise me. So the fact that I don't talk much to you and you don't see me around and you don't hear me around, that reflects how I actually look at you. You come at me with so much shaming language, I just need to avoid you, bro. And that's how that goes. You know, Ice Turner said, they're all trying to nibble against your self-esteem and self-confidence because they lack it within themselves. Facts, facts. In light of a lot of these shootings that's happened with these rappers, now I don't know the stories. I don't know any of these rappers, and I don't come from the places they come from, not just geographically speaking, but even in regards to lifestyles. But what I can say is, a lot of guys lack a lot of things within, and they see that you may have more. That's when they want to take it away from or take it out of you. And so, when you start to elevate or ascend, you starting to climb, you got to leave some folk behind. You want to be lighter as you fly up in the sky, some airplane crashes, and rest be upon the souls of those who have crashed in these airplanes. Sometimes it's due to an airplane being too heavy. So the plane wasn't able to take off properly and it fell right back to the ground and it crashed. So some folks, are going to make you crash. And, when you starting to get better down the road in life, you're dealing with guys. Oh, and here's another thing. I may have brought this up before, but maybe I'll just bring it up again. You have ideas, you have ambitions, you have things that you have in mind. And you guys just not rocking with you know what I'm saying? Like for example, like me and Ice Turner, we cool people. You know what I'm saying? And he's been actually like, he's been passing the torch to me in a lot of different ways that I think I have some future implementation of some things I'm going to add to this channel. With his blessings. He checks out my content all the time, and I check out his content. We support each other. Now, that's no different than you got guys around. They don't check up on you. They don't want to see what you've been up to. They don't ask like how you been, bro. What you been up to lately? What you got going on? You know, like what you know, you got any ideas? You got any projects? You know what I'm saying? How you been doing with that car? You know, did you add a few extra horsepower to that car lately? How's it going at your job? Did you get that position yet? You know what I'm saying? Like the ins and outs. You know, brothers are just really looking out for each other. Like I've known guys who haven't even checked out my content at my channel. I've known guys that didn't really want to hear about my ideas, but yet I got to sit down and hear about all their ideas, all their little sob stories, all this stuff. And it's like, you know, men, we are actually builders. So we actually, men try to avoid conflict. Contrary to popular belief, men do not like to fight each other. All this idea of men going to war and all this, and I got a future live stream that I'm gonna do on that about men going to war. That's another note. We're gonna address war down the road, but nevertheless, men actually avoid conflict to the best of our ability. When it's time for us to get hands on, deadly, that's usually a last resort for the right man, you know, for real men. Now, what you see out here with all these dudes fighting and banging and all these guns and shooting them, those are not men, those are males. These are guys, the first thing on their mind is to fight because that's actually a feminine tactic coming from the females. Now, what makes the woman distinct from the female is that the woman realized she takes on the masculine principles of a man that's in her life. And she realized, you know what? I have a peaceful man in my life and I want to be peaceful like that man. I don't like to be around all these chicks that want to fuss and fight all the time. And I think it's unattractive when I see a man that always wants to fuss and fight all the time. Because one day he's going to want to fuss and fight with me. And if I don't know how to protect myself as a woman, it's going to be a rough day if I even live to tell about it tomorrow. Right. So real women love men that are peaceful and avoid conflicts to the best of our ability. So I grew up in the hood, right? Sort of, sort of. I mean, I left the hood, you know, so I guess that's what's different about me. But chicks would be like, well, what's up with you? Like, you don't like to like fight or confront or, you know, get down. You know, all the stuff you hear growing up, that's actually not masculine for a man to want to fight, confront. You know, no. As a man, my job is more or less to take care of me and mine by any means necessary. So I have a fortress for me and mine. You know, that's how I feel. That's my logic on things. I'm not out here trying to turn up. You know, wanting to get out here and get dirty is the last answer. It's the last resort. You know, if I'm gonna do something, it's gonna get done quick, fast, speedy, in a hurry. You know, like some of the leaders back in World War II said, you know, you walk with that big stick. You know, no pun intended, but what I mean is you got a weapon that's gonna neutralize everything around you. You won't even need to have a long out war. You know, if I'm just gonna nuke the whole town and that's it, and I'm walking away and I'm gonna go and have my dinner in a few hours. You know, that's how I look at the situation. You know, men don't try to have conflict, real men, not these typical males. Let's see what Charlotte Swan said. It's also about feeling superior in ego. They deflect from their own shortcomings via their shaming tactics. Oh yeah, that's major, Charlotte Swan. A lot of guys have to have that superiority complex in them. And to me, that makes you look more inferior when you try to act superior. It should be understated. That's what I love about wolves, and I love wolves so much from this regard. You don't see them out here looking like a muscular Rottweiler, looking like a muscular pit bull or Roman King Corso or Dogo Argentino or Bull Mastiff, you know, because a wolf is made different. A wolf is for the wild. It's not for the streets. It's not for the domesticated, tamed life. You have to be built a certain way to survive. So even me personally, I don't I have a very understated look about myself, but don't underestimate. I love I have an understated type of car, you know, like I love cars like Volvos, maybe Toyotas, very understated cars, but you better believe that you cannot underestimate. You can never underestimate the understated, you know. Things, you know, So those two words go together for me: underestimation and understating. Like those things go together for me. Because that's how a wolf is. Wolves are they have this uncanny strength, unparalleled amongst the canine world, and yet they don't look like the most muscular thing out there. But yet their size, their proportions, their dimensions, you get like a tundra wolf is actually almost the same size as some of the smallest lions in Africa. Yeah, a lot of the wolves up north are almost similar to the size of lions, but a lot of people don't know that. That's another story. But nevertheless, it's just this understated look, this understated feel that, my point is you're not about trying to make it seem like you're better than everybody else around you. You just have a certain way about the way you carry yourself. Now, this is sort of a side note, but I'm not going too far off the tangent. A lot of guys that do go to prison and they've had experience in prison, especially what they call your lifers, the ones that are in prison for life. They have life sentences with no possibility of parole. They've learned not to show off their strength. They've learned not to flex out there on the yard. They've learned not to show how vicious, how dangerous, and how deadly they really can be, because they never want those who are competitive and more feminine to really know what they are really capable of. So that reminds me of like the way a wolf would think, very understated, but yet very calculated, and yet someone that or something that can never be underestimated. I think that's the best way to be. Or, yes, facts, Ice Turner. Yeah, Volvos are understated luxury automobiles. And that brand new Volvo S90 goes hard. Man, I love that S90, man. Woo, I would love to get that thing, real talk. But yeah, in the tuner car world, they call these type of cars sleepers. Cars you wouldn't suspect to be faster, but they are faster, man. I've seen many Volvos beat Lamborghinis. Real talk. So that's that. I think also bringing up what you said, Charlotte Swan. A lot of guys who try to have this ego, they kind of know when they've ran into an understated individual, because the individual that has things to say, they feel challenged by the individual. But it's not that the individual is actually trying to challenge you. The individual is just challenging to you. But see, they react. They react by getting off into this whole superiority way of thinking. But to me, this is very effeminate. There's nothing masculine about it. So yes, down the road, I want to talk more about the whole idea of war, because war ain't what people think it is. And to me, war is not masculine. I don't care what nobody says. We're going to talk more about war down the road. War is actually the ultimate form of male shaming language. It is one of the most ultimate forms of male shaming language. We're going to talk about war down the road. Yes, indeed. Uh oh. Right on, Bradley. See, I'm like Ice, I don't really do notes and things like that. So, but it's cool when people bring notes to me. I appreciate this, Bradley. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Be clothed with humility, for God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. It's all about being humble. And so you got a lot of guys out here that's telling you not to be humble. To me, that's also another form of male shaming language, because some men have come up in this life and they've had what we call what? Humble beginnings. So you can't take the humility out of the way a man has come to be. Now you're telling him to be something he's not. I don't think that's right. I think when you try to tell guys to be something that they're not, that's also another form of the shaming language. See, I like what Ice Turner said in his live stream the other day that I was on chopping it up with him on. He was like, yo, I'm an asshole, but that works for me. But that doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole. Do what works for you. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a humble guy and that's what gets you by, do that. Do what works for you. But yeah, the shaming language comes when you have a guy that you trying to make humble into an asshole, or could be trying to make an asshole humble. So you got that too. You got guys out there that be like, well, you need to be more humble. But maybe that's the way this guy is wired. Some guys are hot, you know, they are wired a certain way to where, you know, people fire cylinders differently. There are different types of engines, from inline fours, the V12s, the V16s, the W8s, to to radial engines, rotary engines. Everybody fires their engine up a little differently. As a man, you know, we all got different types of engines, different types of cylinders. So we all move differently. These engines make us move differently within us. So, you know, that's the thing. One size does not fit all. We are diverse. Not every man's the same. So that's one thing I realized coming up in the Black community per se. You know, one day I realized, and this was prior to me really knowing a lot about my background ethnically and things like that. You know, my thing was, yeah, not all Black men are the same, if you will. You know, so I mean, heck, we all don't have the same hue. You know, so it's like we all are different. I mean, I might not be the type that want to watch SpongeBob SquarePants or play video games and things like that. But there is another guy that might like that. You know, there's another brother that might like those things. So yeah, I think that, you know, I guess my point of this too is just another form of male shaming language is just this one size hat fits all approach. Like, no, man, every guy is different. Why you think they call it tailor made? I like the brother that knows how to tailor make you, tailor made. You feel me? I don't want a guy that talks like from a one size fits all approach. So that's what gets me with these dating coaches. That's what gets me with these pickup artists. They got the one size fits all approach. The fact that they actually are trying to teach you how to get a woman their way, that's male shaming language, because your way will not work for me. So I'm spending all this money to get the chick the way you telling me to get the chick. But what if that doesn't work? Because that works for you. That's like I'm buying a pair of LeBrons, but I'm not LeBron. Okay. See, I'm like, look, I'd rather it be a certain shoe with a technology that benefited LeBron, but maybe that technology could benefit me too. But to get a shoe on my feet that has LeBron's James name on it, and to think I'm gonna still be like LeBron James, you can forget about it. And so that's kind of what you get with these dating coaches, with these pickup artists out here, you know? So it's just a lot of shaming language. What is this telling the young men coming up? Oh, you got to be a certain way if you want to get around chicks like this. Be you. Be you. You know, screw what the other guy's saying. Be you. Learn more about who you are, though. And that can't be taught. I can only help you along the way. See, we need more men like that around, okay? Helping these young men in what? Their development, okay? Developing, okay? You're coming at me with this quasi advanced level advice based on what you were able to master in your life, and it may not necessarily apply to me, and I'm still in development. And so look, there's a lot of guys out here, even in YouTube, a lot of them don't realize they're still developing, you know? Now, and I see myself, I'm still developing, but I've realized just looking at the board out there, if you will, looking at the landscape, I guess I consider myself pretty advanced, but I say that humbly. I say that very humbly. And I say that from the standpoint that I've always tried my best to be ahead of my time, because there's just certain things that I think need to be discussed. So this idea of the inverted perspective is very ahead of its time. You know, we got to know that there's definitely more than what meets the eye. You know, what about what meets your senses? What about what meets your chakra? What about what meets your third eye? Huh? What about that? Okay. Now let's continue on here, not to want to digress too much. Uh, as a man, it's not my place to call someone out on their behavior. You know, it's better to call one out on their actions, because behavior and actions aren't necessarily the same things. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's even better to have an opposite reaction to their actions. See, I'm all about being proactive. Like I've said, you know, you can how can I put this? There's too many reactive guys out there. A lot of guys ain't even proactive, you know. And so proactive to me is it is to me in many ways the opposite of react, you know, or at least the way I react was to be proactive. I didn't just react. Like it is written, it says, be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. So there might be a guy that says something real disrespectful. Oh, I heard exactly what you said, but I'm gonna get back to you on that in a few days. I ain't gonna snap on you right now because I want to make sure when I say something, it's gonna hit home. Or maybe I just might not say anything at all because you're not even worth my response. See, being more proactive about the situation. Ice Turner said, exactly. I'm still developing, working on my patience and minimalizing the agitation. Boom, exactly. It's like, and I love the idea of Dragon Ball Z, Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Goten, all of them were evolving as Super Saiyans, So that's why I don't even like the idea of being the best version of yourself. I think that's a wolf ticket. You can never be the best version of yourself. You can only get better. So I only like to say, I like to be the better version of myself. Because what if my best ain't good enough? Right? What if my best ain't good enough? What if you run into an adversary of a situation where the best version of yourself ain't good enough? Hey, what's good information? What's good information, man? Show. Good to see you back up in the building, fam. Let's keep going with this. Let's keep going. Where we at? Half an hour into it. Y'all know how I do. I try to break this down in about an hour. I think I got enough to break down in an hour. Let's continue to talk though. Got some other things I want to say to y'all. Yeah, you can always tell when a guy is fighting for supremacy or dominion. This guy will have a collection of shame and language. At the same time, you know, dealing with white supremacy is not what you think it is. See, I threw y'all for a loop. White supremacy is another form of male shaming language. Now, I ain't gonna even break that down to y'all, but I want y'all to think about that in regards to male shaming language. How is white supremacy another form of male shaming language? Psych. I'm gonna break it down to y'all. I'm gonna break it down to y'all, man. I'm gonna break it down to y'all. Hold on, let me see something here. Ice Turner said, I strive to be the best stable version of myself holistically. Yeah, and that makes sense in regards to the best stable version, because stability, it's like a top. You know what I'm saying? Like when you spin that top and you're just trying to keep it stable, you try to keep it from tipping over. You want it to like to I guess you got the argument of the flat earthers, the people who believe the earth is round or believe it's a flat earth, but but you want to be like that top. You know what I'm saying? You want to stay stable. So yeah, I get that. That's actually a good way of how you put it, Ice Turner. Well, I appreciate that information, man. Show. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that. But yeah, let's get back to this white supremacy because I'm pretty unapologetic. I don't go too hard on the pro black stuff, but I'm talking as a pro individual right now. Okay, so let's think about this white supremacy now. Male shaming language. Oh man, it's coming from somebody shaming a certain melanated man. One type of guy shaming another guy, and so via supremacy, you over time had to really exercise certain things to oppress an individual. So let's go back to what Charlotte Swan said. I'm gonna give y'all a history lesson in just a few words. Okay. So Charlotte Swan, she said, it's also about feeling superior in ego. They deflect from their own shortcomings via their shaming language. Think about the shortcomings of the ones that are showing white supremacy. Think about this month being November, month of Thanksgiving, month of when you were pilgrims and you didn't have anything. So you had to make another type of person feel like they were lost. But yet the people on these shores, part of my ancestors said, we already knew the truth before you brought the Bible here and try to pervert us with it. Not that the Bible itself is perversion, but the Bible has been perverted and people have been perverting the words, you know? And this goes back also to what me and Ice Turner was talking about, a God amongst men. They used white supremacy to shame a God. Did I just say that? They used white supremacy to shame a god. See? So there you go. Um, they see the melanated man as very godly. They see the melanated man as very angelic. A lot of historical information that you could look out there, but there's a lot of to say about the melanated man and his place in his life. Why do you think he's the worst treated? Even amongst most, not all, but most of the feminine gender that he should be procreating with. Now that's a deeper rabbit hole because some of these skin folk are not kinfolk. Some of these chicks that you think are your sisters are not your sisters. They're not who you think they are. The ladies that have and see, this is for the melanated brothers listening to this live stream. Okay. And of course, just being unbiased, we got Bradley up in the building. So, Bradley, much love to you, Bradley, because you have a different melanation, but you have a different skin tone, but you understand where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody was on that white supremacy. Okay. There were other types of guys out there, you know what I'm saying, that were similar to, someone like Bradley. You know what I'm saying? You know, someone like Bradley wasn't trying to have shaming language, you know what I'm saying, towards a man that was godly, you know what I'm saying, because he wanted to be as godly as he possibly could in the best way possible. And so, the scriptures define someone like Bradley as a Gentile, someone that aspires to be similar to, as much as possible to righteous individuals, despite whatever your background is. And so that's in essence the whole message of salvation. Come ye as ye are. So it's about, despite what your past is, you're trying to be better and you want to have better rapport with people that you run into. And so what you have right now with shaming language, even what some have used for white supremacy, is this idea that, well, I wasn't part of that. My people didn't do that. I mean, I wasn't part of what my ancestors did, but you're benefiting off of what your ancestors did. You're perpetuating the way they live their life. You're not actually trying to commune, if you will, with other people who you felt were the victims, or I won't even necessarily say victims, but they were handicapped from this idea of white supremacy. To me, one of the ultimate shaming languages, male shaming languages per se. But that's a deeper rabbit hole. I ain't want to hit y'all too hard with that, but I want y'all to think about that. I figured I'll just break it down, just a few words, a little short history lesson. But yeah, let's keep going with this. Just something else I wanted to talk to y'all about. I think in the previous live stream, I said that amongst females, I would call her sweetie in order to sugarcoat the situation or diffuse the conflict. Now, if I call the lady sweetie many times over a long duration, that because this particular lady is actually sweet. She's sweet to me. She's more of a real woman instead of a typical female. Because the typical female is not being sweet, she's just being bittersweet. She's actually an artificial sweetener. See what I'm saying? So I'm just sugarcoating the situation, just given that this type of chick ain't really sweet to me anyway. So, I ain't gonna be calling her sweetie for too long. But for the ladies I call sweetie on the regular, that's because I think she's actually sweet to me. She's been sweet to me. You know what I'm saying? So much love to her. Yeah, much love to you, Charlotte Swan. I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know what I mean? So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Uh Now, I just brought that up about the ladies. To me, amongst the fellas, you know what I'm saying? Same principle. But of course, instead of saying sweet, I'm gonna call the dude, I'm gonna call the brother fam. That's how I do it with the fellas. For the ladies, I say sweetie. For the fellas, I say fam. You feel me? Because I feel you like my brother, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna treat you like my brother because you being like my brother. And, if a dude ain't being like my brother, obviously I ain't gonna treat you like my brother. But like I said, I don't have enemies. People make me their enemy. You see what I'm saying? So, but here's the way that would go though. Like, I would say fam to a dude just to kind of soften the conflict, because I want you to ultimately be cool with me. We don't need to have this conflict, but you want to be tripping, you know? So basically, I'm still trying to be endearing towards the dude, even though he still could be talking disrespectfully towards me. So after so long, we ain't gonna be fam no more because you don't want to be fam with me. So after a while, I ain't even got to address you any other way. I just won't address you. You know what I'm saying? You know, because that's kind of how that goes. You know, so you go your way, I go my way, and we'll leave it at that because that's the way you wanted it to be. Okay. I desire to not have no conflict with any man, let alone a melanated man. Because you know, we see the plight. We see what's going on. We see what's going on out here with melanated men. I have nothing but love for melanated men. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what background you come from. But as long as you see me as a brother, I see you as my brother. You feel me? But even those that aren't melanated and you come to this channel like Bradley, I see you as my brother too, as long as you treat me as your brother. Real talk. We just trying to have peace in this world. So, you know, you got some guys out here that be like, well, you know, we gotta be together as the black men, and we can't be around these white men and all that. You saying all that, but you still got problems with other black men. See, that's the problem that I see. See, I think when you're more universal, you having love and getting that love back from so-called black men is going to be a given versus you just trying to be quote unquote race specific. But yeah, you still got problems with other black men. See, that to me, that's a wolf ticket. That's a wolf ticket. You can sell that to somebody else. I'm not going into the stadium. You can sell that wolf ticket to somebody else. Real talk. Um, but yeah, many examples of disrespectful talks and words, you know, that I've been noticing out here with a lot of these guys, you know. Um, but I'd say like talking disrespectfully isn't necessarily a shaming language. Um, I guess the way that I look at it is, yeah, talking disrespectfully and hold on, my bad. Whew, talking disrespectfully and shaming language aren't necessarily the same. You can still use shaming language without being disrespectful, and you can be disrespectful without using shaming language. See what I'm saying? So, um, different examples of this. I'm trying to think. Okay, so you're talking disrespectfully, but you're not using shame language. Like, for example, you could just say, I don't want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have a reason as to why you don't want to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? You just don't want to talk to them. You just say that. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that could be more or less you you you're not being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But I guess yeah, that could still be a shaming language because maybe the type of caliber of guy you are, you just got this other guy that just doesn't acknowledge you. That's disrespectful, right? He don't want to talk to you, but he already knows your caliber. So that's disrespect right there, right? So that's a guy being that's a guy basically being disrespectful without using shaming language. Hopefully that makes sense to y'all. So let's do this. Let's talk about the shaming language without being disrespectful. Now, someone could argue shaming language and being disrespectful is the same thing. So let me break this down because, like I said, it's off the top of my head right now at this point. You know, just breaking this down per se, this aspect. Okay, so disrespectful without using shaming language. To me, this is more of an action. You know, I think that's what it is. Being disrespectful without using shaming language, because you know the other result is someone is being disrespectful to you with shaming language, right? So they can be disrespectful without saying anything to you, you know, like how they just overlooked you. Kind of like, you know, back in the days, you know, when you were younger and you was playing ball on the court and you know how good you was, right? But the other guys, they didn't pick you on their team, you know? So you felt disrespected. You know what I'm saying? You felt disrespect um, without a person using shame language. So I don't know if I summarized that. I know I just summarized it good as far as being disrespectful without the shaming language. So I guess just going back to the earlier point of using shaming language without being disrespectful. Um, but I guess with that said, being using shaming language without being disrespectful, I think I just sort of contradicted myself. I think you can't use shaming language without being disrespectful. I think that, yeah, I think there's no in between on that. But you can be disrespectful without using shaming language. I think it's just more of an action thing, So that's interesting. Let me know what y'all think about that. Even those in the comment section checking this out on the replay. I'm just brainstorming a few things right now. Let's see. Charlotte Swan said, the other Ray J, the panel disputes and shaming we see in the manosphere. Does this represent how Black men behave in real life from your experiences? Oh, yeah, all day long. But see, you know, it's different because out where I'm at, it's just all about that smoke. Or like they say, they pull them guns out, they pull them choppers out. A lot of guys, when they know that, hey, it's going to be a heated argument, dudes now want to get the guns. You know what I'm saying? See, back in the days, dudes was just quick to fight. It went from fighting to knives to guns. Now, see, a man at his core is not quick to fight at all from jump. You're going to hear what another person has to say, even if it is a different opinion. Y'all going to work it out or y'all just going to walk away? But it shouldn't result in this dispute and in these argument because it's no longer an intellectual conversation at that point if that ends up the result. I'd rather a guy be set in his ways and we keep it moving than to continue on. And see, I'm not making it no better if I'm trying to convince this guy to think differently. No, that's also another part of male shaming language. I think I brought that up earlier. Okay, we have different views. We can leave it at that. We can work it out, work some together or not. Okay, this is what I see and that's what you see. Keep it moving. Two different perspectives. You gave your perspective, I gave mine. We can leave it at that, or we can kind of take bits and pieces of what we both have said. But you don't see enough of that. So yes, as a result, like you said, Charlotte Swan, the panel disputes and shaming we see in the manosphere. Now, I think I said it's probably in the previous live stream. Uh, just guys over talking each other and yelling at each other. Now it's different if y'all just bouncing off ideas. I mean, y'all chopping it up and it's getting good with what y'all saying, and y'all just kind of want to feed off ideas, so y'all accidentally kind of cut each other off. Not that you mean to, but that just means y'all balancing ideas off each other. That's different. But when you got a guy that intentionally cuts you off and he wanted to raise his voice at you and all that, yeah, that's part of the shaming language. That's part of shaming language. Charlotte Swan. Right, they're too high-headed. Yup, that's it. They're definitely too high-headed. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? We ain't got time for that, man. We trying to cook a good meal. Like I said, I give y'all the recipes. I don't give y'all game. I give y'all the recipes. So we trying to cook something good over here. Chef Ray RD up in the building. I didn't say Chef Boyardee. I said Chef Ray RD. We cooking good over here. We don't need the hot heads. He gonna, a person like that gonna make the stove too hot. They're gonna burn up the stuff in the kitchen. You know what I mean? We don't need a person like that up in the kitchen when we cook. But yeah, hopefully this live made sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others. But to the others that this live made sense to, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. And hey, what's good? That's a stoic. Good to see you up in the building, fam. If this is your first time coming to this channel and you like this type of content, whether it's the videos or the live streams, just know that there's more in store. So feel free to subscribe at this channel, share this live, as well as my other content. You'll see my videos in the playlist section, all of my live streams. If you ever want to reach me, go in my about section. You'll see my email. You also see other platforms that I'm on. I'm even on IG. Subscribe to my other YouTube channels. Follow me on IG. Reach me via email. You ever want to tip yours truly? That's also in the About section. There's a PayPal. There's a Cash App. That's if you want to tip. It's not something that I put out there. It's not something that I expect. No expectation, no obligation, just appreciation. That's all there is to it. But make sure y'all hit that notification bell so that you get all of my uploads in real time. This is one of my shorter lives, just wanted to do like a recap. Hopefully I've done a good recap. But we definitely got another live stream coming up in a few days. I gotta kind of, I don't know, it's gonna be another freestyle live stream. Most of my live streams are pretty much freestyle, I have certain things I construct just from the standpoint of presentation because I did take public speaking. But everything that I use for speaking is all from the top of my head. I don't take notes too much at all. This is what I say to y'all, and hey, here we go. But yeah, much love to y'all. I appreciate y'all stopping by. And no matter what, no matter what it looks like out there, just know that it's only going to get better from here. And I believe I'm starting to see a few signs of that, regardless of what it looks like out there. And this has to be also something within you. It can't just be something that you look on the outskirts. Yes, no matter what it looks like out there, it's only going to get better from here. And as it gets better, just know that I told you so. And until next time, signing out, much love, and thank you all for stopping by.